Hi, this micro lecture details some online instruction best practices, and for this I surveyed a number of sources. Now, a lot of them were really good, and some of them were maybe not so good. However, together there was a whole lot of common sense. Also, some of it you have no use for, and here's why I say that. Remember the context. These practices were often developed for a 100% online course with zero synchronous interaction. That's not you. You are probably preparing for remote hybrid instruction as opposed to online instruction. Now, after surveying all of these, I came up with what I consider to be the 6 hybrid online teaching best practices. Number 1, communication. No big surprise there. 2, explicit expectations clearly communicated. 3, use synchronous and asynchronous instruction. 4, faculty availability. 5, promote active learning. And 6, get informal feedback early. Okay, let's go ahead and take those one at a time, starting with communication. No surprise here. Everybody knows how important this is. I do need to share something that I found. I found on a website of best practices the heading, communication is key. Okay, certainly can't, disagree with that. But the next thing I found very interesting, here's what followed that. Students are increasingly comfortable communicating via email. Whoa. And there was a footnote for that. I just was really curious, so I had to check out the footnote. It referenced a study from 2002. Now, that was one of the less great resources I found. But we all agree that communication is key, but don't over-communicate. If you're like me, you probably got way too much email in the second half of the spring semester as people were over-communicating. And as it relates to your students, your learning management system is critical for communicating with them. And the reason is all of that info is in one place. So use Blackboard or Canvas or Moodle. Use your learning management system to communicate with your students. Okay, number 2, explicit expectations clearly communicated. We just can't be too explicit here, and we have to make our syllabus come alive and continually talk with our students as to exactly what is expected of them. 3, use synchronous and asynchronous instruction. Okay, we have scheduled class times, and we are going to meet with our students at scheduled class times, possibly in a physical classroom, but possibly in a virtual classroom via Zoom or WebEx. Asynchronous instruction. You're probably going to have to develop some instructional media, instructional videos, instructional audios. Number 4, faculty availability. You're going to see your students, of course, during scheduled class time, whether it's in person or virtually, but you want to be very available for them at office hours, and because everybody has this virtual access, it's actually even easier to meet with students in virtual office hours. So certainly promote that with your students. Speaking of promoting, number 5, promote active learning. Now, active learning is any activity in which the student is actively involved in the learning process. So lectures, by their nature, are passive, but individual exercises, group projects, case studies, business plans, preparing presentations, those are all active. Some examples of that I've used. Come up with a new positioning for Pepsi in 5 minutes. Oh, the students love that little exercise. That's an individual exercise. Or a group exercise. Write a commercial tagline for iPhone in 10 minutes. Even if you're in a virtual classroom, you can use group exercises because both WebEx and Zoom have breakout session capability. Group projects. Design a 10-question market research survey to ascertain student preferences of Macintosh versus Windows-based PCs. That might be a 1-week project that they have. And again, your LMS can help you here because you can set up groups so that those students can communicate with each other in your learning management system, Blackboard, Canvas, Moodle. You can also use Microsoft Teams for that if you're utilizing Teams. Case study, watch 3 videos on Spanx founding and growth and prepare short presentations on the growth prospects. This past semester, I had student groups writing a business plan, and that still worked out very, very well, even after we went all online. And I utilized presentations because now they have the ability to prepare presentations and then share their screen. So I told my students if they don't know how to make those presentations, I gave them some links to see how to do that. And for the most part, the students liked it, but I have to fess up, not everybody liked that. Here was a quote from my evaluations this past spring. Only suggestion is that there are way too many presentations. Student hate giving presentations. Okay, this student didn't love the presentations, but for the most part, the students were pretty good with it. And number 6, get informal feedback early. I proactively attempted to get that by asking for a volunteer to be what I called the class liaison. And that way, if students had any issues and they didn't want to bring them to me, they could go to their class liaison, and then their class liaison could forward their concern directly to me. I wanted to proactively solicit that input so that any little issues that we had got nipped in the bud kind of early. As you get ready to develop your course, you want to go through your checklist of the things that help make your course better with this non-traditional instruction, and think of ways that you can best utilize the online teaching trilogy of our learning management system, our video conferencing tool, and our instructional media.